Welcome to the Be Amazing podcast. On this show, we'll give you the fuel you need through motivational pep talks, the fitness tips to be your healthiest self, fortitude to push through the hardships, and focus you need to build the skills needed for the next level, no matter what that looks like to you. I'm your host, Cel Smart. I'm a wife, a mom, community leader, and fitness professional of over 18 years. I'm here to be your biggest cheerleader, advocate, and connector. Let's be amazing together.
Thank y'all for coming out for this. This is being videoed, so it'll be dropped as a podcast. It will be on the YouTube channel that we have for Be Amazing Podcast. You'll be able to share it, you can listen to it, you can send it to other people. This is just really exciting because I turned 50 in July last year. And on my 50, I have a list of 50 things I wanted to do, and one of them was have a live podcast. So here we are, and corporate furniture outfitted our stage, which is like amazing. I want to shout out my partners, my featured partners, Cara Mechanical, where are you? Stand out, wave, they're there. Okay, Chapel Supply, I'll see you. Thank you. Janet Brinkley, where are you? My supporting partners, Smart Identity Solutions, Michael. Mullen is not here. Ready Fitness, Promotion, Mandy. Last Dr. Pete. No Women, which they like the most in your chairs. TEDx Sugar Creek Women. Those letters right there, Alpha Lake Charlotte. Pat's Kitchen is who provided the charcuterie board. And then Import Drywall donated all the dessert. So shout out to everyone that's been part of this. We have other vendor partners here tonight. Please take time to go by each of them. Let them know you appreciate them being here, their time. Some of them are doing giveaways. Just make sure that courtesy, just to say thank you would be awesome. And I want to say thank you to my husband because he's the one that has been my support system. Like any crazy idea I have, he's like, let's go.
Oh, you're good.
What are we going to do? What are we doing? I partnered with Dress for Success Charlotte. I partnered with them last year. And it's important because what they do for women goes beyond clothing. So it goes beyond us just bringing donations tonight. Thank you to everyone that brought shoes and clothes and all of those things. But they educate. And they educate women not only to get a job, but they educate so that women can elevate. And I am part of an industry that elevates. Multifamily elevates. And so when I talked to Emily, I was like, Dr. Emily Wheeler is Executive Director for Dress for Success. And I went to her and I was like, you gotta connect with multifamily. Like, you're wanting women to get jobs and we've got careers. So to me, it was like this perfect mix. And then my multifamily, I've been a part of multifamily now for 10 years. This is my 10th year. I'm so grateful. I'm grateful to every single person that has opened their arms up and welcomed me in, part of the Apartment Association, GCAA, PTAA, AAMC. It's been amazing. Every person that is going to be on the stage tonight, I was very specific with who I asked. There are so many women that I want to be on this stage, and there wasn't enough room and enough time, so it means we might have to do a different one. But tonight, these people I've worked with them. These have been women that I've admired and have inspired me in my career. So I just wanted to say that. I wanted you to kind of know the why behind this and like why we're all here. And we're a community, and if you don't know, I even said this on the news the other day, if you don't know multifamily or what it is, like I'm telling you, it is huge. It is huge. I had no idea. I didn't know anything about it when I started. I rented an apartment. That's all I knew. I didn't know there was a world behind it. And now it's amazing. So, I want to bring up Liz Newkirk. Woo! Where are you at? Come on up, Liz.
You see me with my girl Joe, Cara Truitt and Destiny, Charlie's angels, come on. Question?
Okay, so let me tell you about this woman. Elizabeth Newkirk is the manager of digital media at Loebsack and Brownlee in Charlotte. She's originally from Atlanta, Georgia. She specializes in digital marketing and social equity initiatives. Liz studied business with a marketing focus on Johnson C. Smith University and holds certifications from Arizona State University and the EEOC. She has led projects like the Lecture in Law and Humanity series at Clemson University, the LB Against DV campaign, raising over $10,000 to break the silence against domestic violence and support survivors and their families. Liz is a prominent speaker and has held multiple leadership roles, being the first woman of color to serve as the president of GCAA Suppliers Council, the first woman of color to serve as AANC, which is the Apartment Association of North Carolina State Suppliers Representative, where she serves on the board of directors in over 2 decades. Liz has received multiple awards, including Social Media of the Year 8 times and the DE&I Champion of the Year twice. Liz was named one of the top 50 women to know in North Carolina in 2024, and she is a woman who inspires by Dress for Success Charlotte 2025. On a personal note, Liz has been somebody that we are a team. We bounce ideas off each other, we lift each other up, we are each other's biggest cheerleader, and she is every bit of that and more. And so she is part of the Dress for Success Your Hour for Power campaign. So right now she's on a mission to raise $2,500 for Dress for Success. If you'll look at your program, on the bottom of the program there's a QR code. I'm asking everyone tonight to donate $10 to Liz's link, because I want to see her hit that number, and I also want to see Dress for Success get that from a room full of women.
Yes.
So if you take your phones out, hit that QR code, make that donation, that will top tonight off. Yes. So now I'm going to give the stage to Liz.
Thank you so much, Cel. I just want everybody to just give her a round of applause. This is absolutely amazing. Everybody coming together and all of us coming together in camaraderie and celebrating Women's History Month. It is just amazing to see some new faces and some familiar faces, and it is just an honor for me to be here. So, getting ready to move forward, we are going to introduce a personal hero of mine. I was able to meet now Senator Woodson through Cel, and we went to a No Women's event. And when I tell you I have never met somebody so fierce, so loving, so caring, so passionate, especially about women, this is the person that you want to meet. She is just amazing, and she is so approachable, and I love her so much. Let's go ahead and bring up Senator Woodson.
I brought my water with me.
Say,
How are y'all doing? Is this on? Is this on? No, this isn't on.
I think you gotta press it. There we go. There we go. There you go.
Now we're on. How y'all doing? Ooh, y'all were having a little sip of something. I need to do that after I get my water. I do that.
So I'm gonna read a little bit about your bio, if that's okay, Miss Ma'am. Yes, we're gonna applaud you. We're gonna celebrate you. So Woodson Bradley is a mom, wife, business owner, community leader, tireless volunteer with a lifelong dedication to public service. A top producing Charlotte realtor since 2002, she now owns Woodson Bradley Real Estate, earning recognition in Forbes ladies and gentlemen, the most dependable realtor on the East Coast. She holds a master negotiator designation, you don't say, right? And is a luxury specialist committed to strengthening Charlotte's economy. With a degree in economics and business administration from Howard University, Woodson combines business growth with community service. She serves as a Mecklenburg County Democratic Precinct Chair, North Carolina Special Olympics Fall Games Venue Manager. I love that on your social media, that's my favorite part. And certified speaker for Love Speaks Out and Mecklenburg County Domestic Violence Speakers Bureau, sharing her survivor story and advocating for teen dating violence prevention. Woodson is an active Rotary Club Charlotte member, a vocal supporter of community action programs, and a passionate advocate for public schools, healthcare, civil rights, and equal rights. She and her lovely husband, who I've had the pleasure of meeting, live in Valentine, Charlotte, with their blended family, Shannon, Stone, and Carter. Let's give her a round of applause.
Quite the introduction. Well, anyway, I wouldn't have missed this for the world. And I don't know what got y'all here. And I'm going to put y'all on the spot because people ask me all the time, they said, how did you move to Charlotte from a little town? If you haven't figured that out already, just let me talk a few more sentences and you'll see I'm the country mouse that somehow made her way to the State House, which is really funny. But people said, how did you build the social capital that you did so fast in Charlotte? And how did you figure out how to network and get into all these inner circles just like that? And I'm going to teach you a secret, and all of you will be able to do this in the next 5 minutes. It does not cost anything. It does not need any degree. You're going to learn how to properly edify each other, and then you're going to reciprocate it to someone, and that is what you're going to practice tonight. I'm telling you, people ask me all the time, they go, that really is it? That sounds kind of weird. No, that's really it. But it's going to be whether or not you choose to do it. So how did you find out about tonight? Was it through your organization? Was it a friend? Was it social media? Toss it out. A friend? Friend? Cel. I know, and she's right. And Liz, right? See, here's the thing. I'm here because of Cel and Liz. Because when they ask you to do something, you say yes. It's an automatic yes. And whenever they do something, it is phenomenal. Liz, okay, all right, I'm gonna tell you about Liz.
No.
Yes. So Liz is a phenomenal attorney. She is fierce. I'm so fortunate that she is my friend because the thought of sitting across the table from this woman on opposite sides of an issue, I just start crying. I just roll over and get up. I'm like, I'm done. And then Cel, I met Cel through the Healthy Charlotte Coalition. And for some reason, people thought I was fun. I teach a big cardio dance class, and it gets a lot of attention at the Y. And they said, well, Woodson, you're into fitness. I go, no, I'm trying to outrun my fork. I'm really not into fitness, as you can see, but I love to dance. And they said, well, you're going to meet Cel, because she is like an animal. And I said, all right, I'm ready. And then I met her. Oh my gosh, y'all. When it comes to like fitness, how to feel good, how to look amazing, how to be amazing, that's the whole reason. That's why her company is saying the way it is. But when she shows up, people pay attention. And so I thought, oh my gosh. But see, if I came up here and said that laundry list of stuff about myself, I would be a braggadocious butthole, and y'all would be like, not interested. But all of y'all are here because someone invited you. Like, who invited you? One of y'all, I heard somebody say.
Susan.
I love that. Who else? Okay. So Kelly? All right. And is it because Kelly holds a little bit of a high watermark with you? You're like, if she's going, I'm going.
Kelly didn't even tell us where we were going.
Okay, this is perfect. All right, so Kelly right now is like here. And your friends are like, oh, she's saying, she's like right here. And y'all are like here. Because it was her social capital that got y'all to come. Get in the car, you didn't know where you're going. And then the only reason you're listening to me is because she read off 3 paragraphs of some things that I've done in my life. But if it weren't for that, you wouldn't be listening to me. You'd be like, who's the lady in the weird frog top with velvet matches? I'd be like, yeah, that's me. I think it's kind of fun. Okay? So what I'm saying is when you introduce someone, when you speak of someone, you edify them, and you need to get good at it. And it's going to be weird. You're going to feel weird. You're going to feel fake. You're going to feel like it's all phony baloney. But you are going to talk about your friend. And just like I did with Liz. Because now y'all are going to pay attention to what Liz says. And everything I said was true. But then Liz is going to turn around and she's going to be talking to someone, not because I put her up to it, because this is who Liz is. And she's going to go there and go, you know what Woodson set up on stage? You guys have no idea. Do you know what she's doing? Do you know? And then all of a sudden my social capital is going to start growing in your mind. And I already had hers growing. I've already got yours going. I've already got Cel. I mean, good Lord, I would walk through fire for that woman. And I mean that when I say that. But she says the most unbelievable things about me when I'm not around. And then people listen to what I have to say. Guys, if you do that, you can make money. You can get into circles. You can raise your social capital. I'm serious. I know it sounds kind of crazy. So here's what I want you to do. Now we're going to get weird. That's my specialty. So what you're going to do is you're going to make eye contact with somebody that you may or may not know that well. You're going to look around, crane your neck around, just kind of lock eyes. When I say go, you're going to lock eyes with someone. And during a break, you're going to find out a couple of things about them. Okay? And they're going to find out a couple of things about you. And then during the second break, you're going to go talk about your new friend to someone else and watch what happens. You've got to practice this. But if you start doing this in your daily life, it's fun. It's so much fun. And in doing that, all of a sudden doors will open up for you that you had no idea existed. That's the only reason why I am where I am today. Is because of this little trick that my grandfather taught me, and he had a 6th grade education. Built businesses from scratch because people loved him. Because they wanted him to say nice things about them. And in turn, people would say nice things about him and would trust him with their business. His name was Woodsy. I'm named after him. Thomas Woodson. We're not that original, my family. All right, so here's what we're going to do. You're going to turn around, you're going to lock eyes with somebody, and be like, I got you, and you're going to find them during the break, so go.
I got you.
Has everybody found somebody? Look at y'all. This is your cocktail party. Okay, hold up. All right, here we go. All right, back on me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, here we go. All right, so everybody stop. So on the next break, your goal is to go, and look, they're still doing their thing.
Not now.
I know. But what I'm trying to share with you is if you want to increase your sales, if you want a promotion, if you want to get into a club, if you want to elevate your social capital and also elevate your social media, if you are known as someone who is kind and likable, everything will flow. Because being likable is a science. They actually studied this past year at MIT. They said, what makes people likable? Likable people like other people. They're not moody. They don't have constant bad days. When they do have a bad day, people pay attention. But if you become genuinely likable, you can get into any door, into any room. You can sit at tables where decisions are made. And the last thing I'm going to close with is I asked y'all to lock eyes with somebody and find somebody to do this with, and not one of y'all looked at me.
I looked at you, Woodson.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to stick around, but I want you to heed this advice. It will take you far. And don't be phony about it. Be authentic about it. People will feel that, and they will follow you. And that is what I give to you.
Let's give it up for Woodson, everybody.
Oh, I'm sorry, I turned it off.
It's all right.
I love you.
Okay, Woodson, we love you. She and I would go out. We did a video out in the city with Amy Peacock. Is Amy here? Amy and Peacock. Are you here? We before Woodson started running and for Senate and all of that, like we always were out in the city doing like fun stuff. So it's always dancing or messing around as well. Okay, so next we're gonna have Dr. Emily Jensen Wheeler. She is the Executive Director for Dress for Success. She is driven by the belief that investing in women is the most powerful way to create lasting change in our communities. With a background in leading student and family success programs at large public universities, Emily made a bold transition to nonprofit work to uplift women and families in Charlotte. As the Executive Director of Dress for Success Charlotte, she is dedicated to empowering unemployed and underemployed women to achieve economic stability through workforce development programs, career readiness, job coaching, and access to professional clothing. Outside of her professional role, Emily is a devoted mother to two smart, strong, creative, and kind children, and a proud partner to her husband, her greatest supporter. She is passionate about fostering equity in her community and modeling a balanced approach to work and life. Emily finds joy and personal fulfillment in strength training, reading, listening to books, and creating. Welcome to the stage, Dr. Emily Jensen Wheeler.
Thank you, Cel, and thank you all. Just like Woodson said, when somebody else stands up here and uplifts you and reads a bio and says these great things about you, it is hard to hear and receive. And I know in this space tonight, with so many supporters and women uplifting women, men uplifting women, choosing to be here, it's a really wonderful gift to receive. So thank you everyone for the warm introduction. Happy Women's History Month to all who celebrate. I am here to spend just a couple of minutes introducing you to Dress for Success Charlotte. We are a nonprofit organization that has been serving the Charlotte community for 25 years. Our mission is to empower women to achieve economic independence through a full spectrum of workforce development programs. And I'll tell you a little bit more about those in just a minute. But first, I want to ask you to do an activity as well. So I want to have everyone in this room pause for just a moment and think about a woman in your life who has helped, supported, or guided you at a pivotal time. So just take one moment to think about a woman who has helped, supported, or guided you at a really important time in your life. We all have one. We all probably have 100. I see smiles, I see some prickly, watery eyes, because that's what we do. We uplift women, we support each other. And our community needs more of that. Here in the Charlotte region, women are more likely to live in poverty across all racial demographics, but that is disproportionately true for women of color. Women are also nearly 4 times as likely to be single parents, so raising children on their own, which is also the household type most likely to live in poverty. And so when we talk about economic mobility and economic opportunities here in the Charlotte community, we are doing a disservice to the people around us if we are not starting that conversation by talking about what we can do to support women. And at Dress for Success Charlotte, I have the privilege of getting to do that work every single day. So we uplift women. We find opportunities to connect unemployed and underemployed women with pathways to sustainable jobs that help meet their economic needs for themselves and their families. We have job readiness and acquisition programs, so helping women assess what their skills are, think about job pathways that may not have been of interest to them or maybe they've never heard of in the past. We provide women with opportunities for one-on-one coaching and professional development so that she has an amazing resume, she has practiced her interview skills, and she can tell you exactly why she is the right woman to step into that job. And then when she does step into that job, we have a job retention program so that women can build that social capital and that network of others to be able to have those hard conversations about, here are some challenges I'm facing, here's where I want to go next in my career, how do I manage my manager? Has anybody had experience doing that? And so we provide that safe space for women to build that network so that they can continue to advance. And we do so much more beyond that. We have an entrepreneurship program. We have a financial education program so that when women are stepping into stable living wage jobs, she knows how to use money as a resource to build equity and be able to continue to meet her financial goals. And just this month, we launched our first skill-based job training program in partnership with Corning Fiber Optics. We had 7 women participate in our first cohort of this program. All 7 women completed a 40-hour certification program where they will meet the requirements, a funky microphone. They'll meet the requirements to get into fiber optics installation and splicing roles, which are stable living wage jobs with benefits, with overtime pay, and often things like a company car, education benefits, and so much more. So we are really trying to not just shift, but interrupt the patterns that women have, the challenges that women have in being able to advance their economic selves. But we are best known for our professional clothing program. And so, especially for all of the women in this room, when you think about confidence and the confidence who you know you are on the inside, what we also know is that showing that on the outside can be the first impression people have of us. It can also be the first barrier we have for ourselves. And so one of the tools that we provide to women are high quality, almost new, gently worn clothing so that she has that final tool, that final resource to be able to walk into an interview, a new job, a new opportunity, and show on the outside the woman the strength that she has on the inside. So today I am thrilled to have our honeybees here to help demonstrate some of the clothing looks that we have at Dress for Success Charlotte. And so if you all want to come up, I wish I could tell you individually what you're all wearing, but I don't know. Beyonce says it best. Look at this confidence. These are all donated items. So the shoes, the clothes, are all donated apparel that we have received through generous supporters like you in this room. It was Cel's idea to have the honeybees come and model, and I don't think it could have been any better. That was perfect. But every article of clothing, the shoes that these women had on, are all donated items. And so thank you to the generosity, those of you who brought donations with you today. There were more than 30 bags back there when I counted a minute ago. When a woman comes to us ready to interview for a job, she gets 2 full interview outfits: clothes, shoes, handbag, jewelry, even new with tags supportive undergarments if she needs them. When she gets that job, she comes back to us for 5 full workplace outfits that match the norms of where she's going. So it won't all be business professional if she's going into an environment that has business casual. So as you are looking out at your closets in the future, thinking about where you want your clothing items to go, please bring them to us. We will give them at no cost to the women that we serve. The last thing I want to say is that we are also in a time of transformation at Dress for Success Charlotte. I mentioned this is our 25th anniversary. We've served more than 13,000 women in this community. Cel mentioned earlier that Liz is part of our Your Hour, Her Power campaign. The premise of this campaign is that by giving 1 hour of your pay, you can empower a woman on her economic journey. And so I would invite you to scan that QR code. Even if 1 hour of pay may not be accessible to you, if everyone in the space donated $10, we would help Liz meet her fundraising goal tonight. And so that's an easy gift that we can give to help uplift and advance women in our community. But we are also purchasing a new space. We are losing our lease. 'Tis the story of Loebsack. We're on Clinton Road, and we are purchasing a new building. We are doing some upfit and renovations so that we can continue to expand our services and continue to serve women in our community for the future. So those of you in multifamily, I know that you have connections, you know great people and great businesses who support nonprofits like ours. We would love to explore those connections with you as well. But thank you all for taking time to learn about Dress for Success Charlotte today. Thank you for your donations, and thank you to Cel for having me.
Okay, so it's really awesome. Like, I'm all about women, but it's the men that support us, and I can say that because I have two in my life, but there are men in this industry that have given us opportunities, have opened doors. Like, there are men in our life that support us in what we're doing. So, yes, we are celebrating women because it's Women's History Month, and I am all about it. That's why we're here tonight. But I also want to celebrate the men, because I picked up the phone and called several of my guy friends, and I'm like, I need some help. And they show up every time. They show up. So with that said, I'm going to bring somebody up. Don't come up yet. Because I met him in my early start with Ready Fitness. I showed up at his office and sat down and had a conversation with him. And I was just starting, and he was so unbelievably kind to me, and has been kind to me ever since. He will connect me with people. He'll reach out for no reason, like, hey, Cel, here's something. Go at it. Go get it. Go talk to them. You need to talk to them. Or he'll tell somebody that could be standing right there, and he's like, you need to talk to her about the gym. So I'm just super grateful to know Mike Susen. Woo! Mike is the senior director with Greystar in Charlotte. He's responsible for a third-party management portfolio consisting of 31,000 units across 120 communities. Before joining Greystar, Mike was the vice president of asset management for Terwilliger Pappas, overseeing the operating and financial performance of the firm's Solis communities across the Southeast. Previously, Mike held roles with Crescent Communities and Boston Capital in asset management and acquisitions. His experiences include development, lease-up, acquisition, disposition, involvement in a variety of asset types, including mixed-use, mid-rise, high-rise, garden, and built for rent. Mike has 16 years of industry experience and earned his undergraduate degree from Clemson University, his Master of Science in Real Estate from the University of North Carolina, Charlotte's Childress Klein School of Real Estate. He is a current board member for the Greater Charlotte Apartment Association and Entryway. Welcome to the stage, Mike Susen.
Forgive a speaker bringing a beer to the stage, but in the house where I grew up, you can't give a toast without a drinking. So, anyway, Cel might regret, I'm up here, I have a microphone, I have a beer, and I have no script, so Mike Susen, great to be here. Cel, thanks for having me, and I don't recommend Cel to people just because she's in the fitness business, but she's a great person, and always goes above and beyond. If she's doing a fitness install at your community or your investment, she's showing up and she's showing residents how to use it, which is just above and beyond. And couldn't think of a better partner to work with in that space. So thank you, Cel. Thanks for having me. Thanks. Last opportunity. As Cel mentioned, I've been in this business for 16 years, and I think historically, I've heard this term a lot. Real estate, multifamily, it's a good old boys club. I'm 37. I've never known it to be that, and I think that's a sign of where this business is going. My first boss in this business is a woman, Emily DeCenzo. I worked for Boston Capital, as Cel mentioned, and Emily couldn't stand more than 4'8", if I had to guess, and there's never been anybody in this business who has simultaneously terrified me and commanded respect more than Emily DeCenzo. And I just think back on how fortunate I was to have her as a leader. She's somebody who just whipped me into shape. I mean, she could have fired me. I was 22 years old, working for this company, kind of mailing it in, didn't realize how good I had it, and she took a chance on me, but when I wasn't doing a great job, took that opportunity to coach me up, motivate me, find what made me tick. And that's something that now I'm fortunate in a local, regional leadership position, I think about that all the time. If Emily had done the easy thing and fired me, I wouldn't be here. I don't know what I'd be doing. And this is an industry that's given me and my family so much that I'm thankful for every day. I'm looking at some leaders at Greystar who are sitting here in the second row, all female leaders. I think that this is a female, woman-led business. Reflecting on this over the weekend, trying to think of what I could say. I've had 7 bosses in this industry, 5 of them have been women. Emily DeCenzo, as I mentioned, made a huge impact on me. My current boss, Susan Newman, I would tell you how long she's been doing this, but this is being recorded, so I can't. But she's somebody who I would describe as when times are bad, she's great. Somebody who, if I'm hot-headed or emotional, upset about something, she just cuts right through the noise, gets me kind of even-keeled. What do you need to focus on? Go. And somebody who's seen it all and just a tremendous mentor for me. So if Susan ever watched this, thank you, Susan. But just even in being here for the last hour, seeing a number of industry colleagues, friends, leaders, I mean, Andrea Howard, Ashley Peterson. Hello? Marcie Williams, Joya Pavesi. Look around. I've only ever known this to be a woman-led industry. And I think that's really powerful. Virginia Luther, the list goes on. Kristin, I went to graduate school with. I think this is a meritocracy. This is a merit-based industry. You've got to perform all the time. And now more than ever, especially we're in the multifamily space, this is a challenging time. You've got to be a great leader, motivated, smart, capable. The list goes on, but I don't see this changing anytime soon, especially on the operations side of our business, where I've kind of exclusively been for 16 years. It's a women-led industry, and I've learned so much from my leaders, my 5 bosses, from Emily DeCenzo to Susan Newman. I look forward to many more years of that, and all that to say, cheers to. I can't cheers without a drink in my hand. But raise a glass if you're in this room, you're a woman leader, and I'm proud to be a part of an industry that I think has really led the way there. So cheers, have a great night, enjoy the panels, and I will make eye contact with all of you. Cheers.
Thank you, Mike Susan. I have had the honor of being on the board with Mike, and he is phenomenal. So it is good to see him again, not at a board meeting, I might add. Alrighty, so we are going to bring up our next guest, Cara Truitt. Give her a round of applause before she goes. So Cara Truitt's 20 years of experience as an entrepreneur, business owner, and community founder, combined with her ability to facilitate intuitive experiential learning, gives her a unique edge. She is the host of Mic Drop. Should I do it? No? Okay. Mic Drop Charlotte, and the founder and executive producer of TEDx Sugar Creek Women in Charlotte, North Carolina. Cara is a masterful at connecting with diverse audiences, whether leading a small group workshop or leading on stage to hundreds, which I don't think I can do. This comes from her extensive experience leading teams. She currently co-owns a logistics company in North Carolina and has a background in sales, management, nonprofit collaborations, and a yoga studio. Her story of healing and resilience after personal loss inspires others to have elevated experience on their challenges. Cara is passionate about collaboration and loves helping others to find growth and connection through community. Everyone, let's welcome Cara to the stage.
Thank you so much. Hey everybody. Collaboration is a catalyst for transformation. Can you say that with me? Collaboration is a catalyst for transformation. Can you already tell, just being in this community, the way that you're starting to rise in your mind. The connection that was made earlier, I love to see it. I actually got my start in community building, fun fact, not on the cue card, in real estate. My very first job was in real estate, and I got my broker's license at 17 years old. So a long journey since then has led me now to where I am in community, and it is my honor to introduce you to your first panel this evening, The Rise of Women in Multifamily Development, Breaking Barriers and Building Communities. So our first guest is Kelly Manley. Kelly is responsible. Yes, give it up. Welcome. I'm going to brag on you before you get started here. Kelly is a Senior Development Director for Spectrum Companies. Kelly is responsible for the firm's multifamily development projects throughout the Carolinas, including feasibility study, design, construction management, and ultimately sale. Prior to joining the firm in 2022, she was the Director of Development for a national multifamily development firm, where she led development execution in the Southeast region. Kelly has lived in the Southeast region since 2017. Kelly and her husband Patrick have 2 young children. Give it up for Kelly Manley. Okay, our next panelist is Tisha Germany, the Development Director for Laurel Street. Tisha oversees all aspects of the development process from initial concept through closing and conversion. She is also responsible for providing day-to-day leadership for the project management activities of the development managers. She has over 15 years of experience in affordable and market rate housing development. Her prior experience includes managing large housing development conversions, public-private partnerships, and mixed-use housing. Previously, Tisha served as the Vice President with KBK Enterprises, where she was responsible for multiple housing developments and the integration of operations activities within the company. At KBK, she completed over 900 mixed income housing units in multiple developments with complex financing structures. Currently, Tish serves as the chairperson of the board of directors of Presley Ridge, a social impact organization with annual revenue of over $80 million and serving 9,000 children and families annually. Headquartered in Pittsburgh with services across 6 states, Presley Ridge offers more than 70 programs in homes and communities, including treatment, foster care, mental health services, and specialized education. Welcome. All right, our next guest is Lindsay Goetsch, the Development Director for Terwilliger Pappas. Loving the coat. The coat is fabulous. Lindsay has experience working in multifamily development, pre-construction, and architecture, where she has designed and managed the development of approximately 8350 Class A apartment units in 14 markets. Throughout her career, Lindsay has contributed to the development of over $1.5 billion in the private sector. Lindsay works with senior management and architects to develop plans for best-in-class multifamily communities to the Charlotte market. She is also responsible for managing risk and overseeing deliverables related to ground-up development. Lindsay holds a Master of Business Administration from Wake Forest University, a Bachelor of Architecture from the University of Carolina, Charlotte, and a Bachelor of Arts in Architecture, with a minor in Landscape Architecture from Miami University, Oxford. Welcome, Lindsay. So our next guest has room to come up. Kristin Vinesett, VP of Flournoy Development Group. Kristin joined Flournoy Development Group in 2024 and is responsible for the execution of the company's development projects in North Carolina and Virginia. She's responsible for entitlements, design, coordination, and project execution, and is based in Charlotte, North Carolina. Prior to joining Flournoy Development Group, Kristin held positions with Alliance Residential, Cortland, and LMC, a Lenner company. She holds a Bachelor of Arts in Architecture, a Master of Science in Real Estate, and a Master of Business Administration from the University of North Carolina at Charlotte, and Master of Construction Management from Louisiana State University. Give it up for Kristin. And last but certainly not least, it is my honor to introduce you again to your host this evening, Cel Smart, who is a perfect example of what can happen when you collaborate. And I want to thank Celia for the support that she's given for TEDx Sugar Creek Women. And we have one of our TEDx Sugar Creek Women speakers on the stage already this evening, Senator Bradley. We look forward to seeing you again at TEDx Sugar Creek. Make sure you get your tickets in the back. But a special announcement. We actually have Cel, who's going to be our MC that evening as well. So you get to rock it out all day long on May 10th. And thank you so much for your partnership. It's been an honor to be a part of this community with you.
Thank you. Thanks, Cara. Okay, I couldn't be any more excited. These women, so because I'm in the development and construction space. So most of the time, over the past 10 years, I'm sitting at a table, and it's all guys, and then it's me. And all of a sudden, about 2 years ago, women start popping up. And I'm like, what is this? What is happening? And women, every single one of these right here is in development for a different company. And I'm telling you right now, there are companies all over Charlotte. Like, it's amazing to me. So when we were going to celebrate women, I'm like, I have to celebrate the women that are hidden. Like, these ladies are usually hidden in the background because they're the ones building all these amazing multifamily apartments that you see. They're the ones behind the scenes. So tonight was really important to highlight them and celebrate them. So I'm really excited about this conversation. So tonight we're talking about the rise of women in multifamily development, breaking barriers and building communities. First thing, this is my question for each of you, and you kind of share just a little bit about, but like, why did you get into this? Like, how did you get started? And we have 2 mics, so who wants to go first?
I can go. I would say I actually just tumbled into it. So, like y'all heard, I was in architecture. So, my mom, I grew up in Wood Partners' office, so I got to see all the cool stuff that they were doing, and really wanted to career design. And then that all changed my senior year of college. I took an internship with Lennar, who was just starting their multifamily in Charlotte. And I was like, this is so cool, like being on the owner side, because you could really direct the design and have a lot more like impact on your community than I feel like I could have as an architect. And then was in construction, then made it development, just about people in my life. So
that's so cool. I just think it's neat, like how your track. So you started just kind of observing and being part of everything, and then just fell in love with all of it. That's awesome. All right, who's next?
Hi. I wish my story was more interesting than that. It's not. I actually, when I entered the workforce, was in financial underwriting, and I got burnt out very quickly after just sitting in Excel spreadsheets and Bloomberg terminals days and nights, and realized pretty quickly, with the help of my mentors, that I needed a role where I would have the opportunity to build something tangible, and also be in a team-based environment. And through my mentorship, my mentors, I learned about real estate development. It was like, okay, let's give that a shot. And if it doesn't work, I'll go to business school. But in that time, about 13 years ago, when I did this transition, I fell in love with it because it is truly a team-based industry. I think, unfortunately, sometimes we lose track of teams and how important teams are. And I think one thing that's beautiful about real estate development is we either win as a team or we fail as a team. And I think I've been a part of some great firms and some great communities who really acknowledge that, and so have fallen in love with it ever since. Didn't know a thing about design, but worked really hard and was able to leverage the knowledge of others and have been very happy.
My story is pretty bizarre. I started my career out of college in healthcare, and I was in graduate school and getting burnt out. I was working in graduate school, and a friend of mine worked for a local housing authority and said, why don't you just at least work here so you're not in healthcare school and work at the same time. But when I started, and she and I were friends, she said, hey friend, something came up and we need you to take on a different position. And you're my friend, I hope you can support me. And what had happened was I had come to a local housing authority and demanded that they make some changes in their portfolio, revamp some of the housing. She said, can you help with that? You can speak in front of people, and I hope there's no one to take on this position. So I started to do it, and a developer came in and wanted to hire me. But it was, a guy, they were all men, and they needed someone that could speak to underserved communities. And what I said to them was, I'm willing to take on this role. I went to my mentor, he said, you should do it, but I'm not just going to be the one speaking. If you're going to bring me on, I need to learn development. I want to learn how it happens, how it works, what does this mean? I'm just not going to stand in front of public spaces and not be able to explain what's going on. Yes. And so he said, okay. And so I left the job, I left healthcare, and I took on roles just learning about the development space, and I loved it. The change every day, no two projects are the same. And I just really latched on and I realized that was my true calling, and that's where I was supposed to be.
Did you have, was there anything from being in healthcare that kind of you feel like crosses over?
I think just the idea, I shouldn't say just, the idea of caring for people, creating spaces for people to live, their homes, where they shop, where they operate, is one of the basic needs of people, right? That's a basic right everyone should have, is decent, safe housing. So I was always interested in making sure that people were healthy in some way, and I feel like this is just a different way to make sure that people are healthy.
I believe that 100%. I think housing is such a huge part of having a healthy life, providing that stability. So that's amazing.
It's hard to follow that up. I guess I wish I could sit here and say that I had a very calculated path into development, but my path was actually very circumstantial as well. So I graduated with an architecture degree during the worst time to graduate with an architecture degree, the financial crisis. I had taken a job in Charlotte and relocated here. So I moved for a job in retail, architecture on the retail side, which was of course kind of like the first industry to not do so well. And 6 months later, I found myself still in Charlotte, but I had already changed jobs, and I worked with now in multifamily architecture. So I guess working during the financial crisis wasn't the worst thing in the world. I was obviously honored to have a job. Most people I work with weren't so lucky. I also, it gave me a lot of exposure to things developers do every day, because there wasn't really a lot going on in construction. So I worked on a lot of RFPs, I worked on a lot of density studies, things that really have benefited my career today. And I guess I would say that really from my circumstances, I learned a lot of things, but I think I learned the most things about myself. I learned how resilient I was. I learned to look at myself and question every day, like, am I doing what makes me happy? Am I able to make a difference? And I think that's been one of the most rewarding parts of working in development.
That's awesome. I'm always curious, because being in development, there's a lot of things that you all face, and there are always challenges. There's always challenges. I can't even imagine the challenges you all deal with, but is there anything kind of in your path so far as a challenge that that you figured out a way to overcome it, or to get past it, or did you pull in team to help you get past it? Like, do you have anything like that you can share? Anyone?
Do you all want to start again?
I can start it.
Go ahead. I'll go around. So I guess another time to highlight that we all would like to forget is COVID. So real estate is obviously very tied to, it's very cyclical, but it's also very much market driven. So during COVID, the markets were very uncertain. No one knew how to react. We found ourselves in a situation where labor costs were high, construction costs were high. Oddly, no one wanted to work, which didn't help. And then we couldn't get our hands on transformers. We couldn't get our hands on switch gear. And then to top that all off, Charlotte really has the largest pipeline that we've ever had under development, which we've kind of seen coming on markets today. I think I was lucky enough to work for a company with good leadership. I think we recognized that there was a demand in the market for new developers to enter, and also a lot of equity in the market. So we actually structured a couple of our deals as pre-sales, so they were still under design. We didn't stabilize them and then sell them like you traditionally do. We sold them when they were like in schematic design. So that proved to be very lucrative for our company when schedule overruns happened, because we ultimately weren't responsible for the interest carry. So.
I was coming at it a different way. I was thinking, what were the challenges just being a woman, in development? I think that in a field, when I first started, it's a lot less male-dominated than it was when I first started. But I think the challenge to me was figuring out a way to get my voice heard. Surprisingly enough, I was probably not as nice as when I started as I am now. I'm a bit more aggressive. And so learning, I think that I felt like that was the way for me to get my voice heard, to be like the guys, right? To be aggressive and as direct as they were. I thought was the only way to get my footing. And it probably did help, but that wasn't my personality, right? So I think the challenge that I had to overcome personally was that was not going to help me succeed in this business, and to be like them. What made me special was that I wasn't like them, right? So I think that over the years, especially when I first started, there were many, many stories of just being extremely aggressive because I wanted to make sure that I still had a seat at the table. Even being strategic, like making sure I go to meetings, sit at the head of the table, and I'm 5 feet, right? So figuring out a way to do that just to make sure that my presence was seen and heard. But that may not have been the best course of action, but I didn't really know another way.
It's really hard to follow up because I think you're absolutely right. When I entered this workspace, not only is it a male-dominated field, I had absolutely no concept of what real estate development was. I was a financial underwriter. If you want to talk about spreadsheets, I'll do it all day. But shockingly, real estate developers don't want to talk about that. And they also don't really want to talk about it with women. So very similarly, I felt like when I started, I had to be really aggressive. And that just wasn't my personality. And I think it took a lot of personal growth to understand that and to accept that. And so I think what I've learned and the way that I've overcome those obstacles, it kind of goes back to teamwork. I think every project has challenges. It doesn't matter what the project is, it doesn't matter where it is, it's gonna have a challenge. We don't know what it's gonna be, but we know it's gonna be there. So I think it's our job as the development team to realize that the challenges are there and to make sure the team that we are responsible for putting in place is ready to weather those storms as they come up. The ultimate role of a developer is to get all your teammates who have their own prerogatives and their own focused efforts to all go towards the same end goal. It's our job to acknowledge that dynamic and to leverage all of those people to work towards the same goal. That's the biggest challenge, and it doesn't matter which project you're on, that challenge is the same. And I think understanding your own well-being, what you're good at, where you kind of fit in the personality stack, for lack of a better term, is crucial so that you feel confident in what you're doing, and then the team's going to feel confident in you as a leader.
Well, I'll go last. So I would say I was actually the opposite of Kelly. I came into real estate with no finance background. So for me, that was a challenge. And I was also very young. I was the youngest person in most rooms that I was in. So that kind of like intimidation of being in a room full of men, being 5 foot, I'm also blonde. I mean, people do not take me seriously right off the bat. So I got a bunch of degrees in a bunch of different fields, and I felt like that really helped me touch all the things that we touch in development. And then really leaning into what my strengths were. So I came from design, and I think that's an invaluable part of how we design communities and not just make cookie cutter boxes, and we really make those intentional for the people who live there. So I think leaning into like what makes you different. All of us have our different backgrounds, and that's part of being a team. It's so great that in development you're not alone, and every single project is different. So every single project, you might have experience, but it's gonna throw curveballs at you, and you have to learn how to reach out to your network, and that network's different for every single deal. Our kids are challenging, COVID, I think, threw so much at us that we were constantly felt like we were relearning everything we had ever thought. So that's what I like about development, is there's so many different friendships that you make along the way that you just have to leverage, and that's the best part, because you're doing it with all these friends.
I love that. And I will have to say, when I started and I was sitting at the table, most people looked at me, blonde hair, and I was called the cheerleader. Like, she's so cute. She's so cute. And so going into these rooms with these guys that are like construction, and then having to learn what the heck a PT slab is over a regular, concrete slab, like learning how to speak their language and be able to have like a serious conversation and feel educated took some time. And so I know I only do that once in a while. Like, I am only in the rooms here and there, but because you all are doing this all the time, like, it's extremely inspiring, because it's a lot, and coming from all the different backgrounds, like, and you've educated yourself in those fields, you've learned on the job, and like the stuff you all are doing, there's so many different parts. I only play like this little part in the whole thing. To me, it's everything. But to y'all, it's only like this little bit, this little thing in comparison to everything you're building. So y'all inspire me every day, and I want to know who is inspiring you. So who is somebody you're leaning in, who is somebody you look to for inspiration in what you're doing right now? Or it doesn't have to be in development, but just career-wise, is there somebody you want to shout out?
Well, I would say I got really lucky when I got out of grad school that I got plugged in with Crew Charlotte. So I think that gave me almost immediately like a whole network of women who were maybe not developers, but were in the industry, kind of going back to what we did before. I mean, most of those women are people that you do deals with, and maybe not necessarily on your same deal, but in the industry, and like really encouraging. And a lot of like leadership summits and just really cool opportunities to meet other women. The thing I like the most about women is that we're always connecting each other. So even if you don't know that person, I feel like everyone's always making introductions for you, because our world is pretty small. You're the one woman in like a pink dress and a sea full of blue lasers, which is my favorite part of conferences. But
I've been just super lucky to be connected with mentors throughout Charlotte and just the Carolinas in general. Just really through UNC Chapel Hill. I did not get my MBA, but I know a lot of people that did, and they're all super nice. And they're all women. A lot of them are women who want to help other women. And it's not been uncommon that, thank goodness for things like LinkedIn, because I actually think these are resources where, especially woman to woman, I have seen a significant increase in women just reaching out like, hey, I don't know you, but I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to get to know you. Here's my resume. And I think it's amazing that now, maybe it's because of the pandemic, that so many more people are comfortable reaching out in that space. And so I hope to make some of the differences that the other women in my life have made for me, and just always being open to others. I could go on about some amazing women, but we don't have enough time for it.
Yeah, I agree. I think LinkedIn has been an awesome resource for different women to reach out. Before I moved here, I had a woman in my office who was our CFO who really helped me. She was a great person for me to bounce ideas off of, for me to go into her office and close the door, talk about all the guys in the office sometime, but to really be a supportive place for me to be. I've been also fortunate in moving here to Charlotte. My CEO, Dion, is a woman, and she owns a real estate development company, so I think that's extremely inspiring. So there have been, like you said, there's been a ton of women that have been able to support me. I want to be able to do the same as well. I hope I have started to and tried to, because we do have an opportunity, to help each other out. And it's not necessarily that it's in the real estate development space, but just to be in a supportive space, to support each other and growing in whatever that field may be, to just be that sounding board or that resource just to give folks a respite. So that's important.
I guess I would say that my biggest mentors have been people I have worked with in past and previous positions. I think people are always willing to help. Sometimes you just need to ask. So for me, just people I've worked with really continue to inspire me. I also think as developers, we're incredibly privileged to get the opportunity to work across a lot of different platforms and a lot of different industries. We work with, community leaders. We work with numerous consultants. We work with political officials, land brokers, the list goes on. And really, this profession is unique because you have the opportunity to learn something new every day, which is something I never take for granted.
This is awesome. I want to thank you so much for taking time, because I reached out to each of you and it was like, this is what was so great. I didn't have to go to a bunch of different people. I just reached out to these women because I work with them and I was like, hey, would you mind come and share? And it was like, yes, we'll be there. And so thank you for taking the time. Thank you all for being here tonight. So let's give a round of applause. We are going into our next panel. So, does everybody have a little bit better understanding of development tonight? Because that's really it's amazing. So now we're going to go into Unstoppable, Trailblazing Women in Multifamily and Their Vision for the Future. We're going to start. Marcie Williams serves as the Chief Strategy Officer for Bainbridge Companies, overseeing operations, brand, culture, and growth. She is a highly accomplished leader in the multifamily industry with over 30 years of distinguished and unparalleled experience in property management, executive strategy, business development, and corporate initiatives. Her impressive career includes previous roles as RKW Residential as CEO, Greystar, and Camden Property Trust. She holds several professional designations, including Certified Apartment Portfolio Supervisor and Certified Property Manager. Marcie has been deeply involved in the Greater Charlotte Apartment Association, having served on the board of directors, acted as board president, and contributed significantly as a founding member of the association's Education Foundation, Education Advisory Council. In addition to her role in Bainbridge, Marcie is an active member of the UNC Charlotte Children's Klein Center for Real Estate Advisory Board. Her contributions to the industry have been widely recognized with numerous awards from the GCAA, including Volunteer of the Year, Instructor of the Year, and the prestigious Lex Marsh Award. Most recently, in 2024, she was installed into the President's Circle for her significant contributions to the association. In 2021, she was inducted into the AANC Hall of Fame. Marcie has also been honored with the Women in Business Award 2019 and recognized as the most admired CEO in both 2020 and 2021 by the Charlotte Business Journal. Additionally, she has been acknowledged as a multifamily influencer by Loebsack. Marcie is an active member of the professional organizations such as IREM, ULI, and serves on the membership committee for MEHC. She holds a Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Welcome to the stage, Marcie Williams. I did a podcast with Marcie. I remember reaching out to her and I was really nervous. So I was really nervous to talk to her. I was like, oh my God, I hope she's gonna be on. I don't know if she'll take me serious. And sure enough, she was like, yeah, of course, Cel. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was so nervous during that interview, but it was so good. So I'm so glad you're here. Okay. Next, we have Jennifer O'Brien, Chief Operating Officer, Best Residential, with over 18 years of experience in the multifamily housing industry. Jennifer has risen through the ranks, starting as a leasing consultant and ultimately become the Chief Operating Officer of Best Residential. Her career trajectory reflects her exponential leadership and deep expertise in community revitalization, property takeovers, and operational efficiencies. Throughout her career, Jennifer has demonstrated a remarkable ability to navigate complex challenges while driving growth and operation success. She has personally aborted 100 communities and led over 30 lease-ups, contributing significantly to the expansion of FCA management and its rebrand to Best Residential. Since joining FCA management in 2018, which began with just 7 properties and 45 team members, Jennifer has been instrumental in growing the portfolio to over 85 properties and a team of 400 employees under the Best Residential banner. Her commitment to excellence is reflected in her focus on customer service, staff training, budgeting, detailed operations, principles that have been foundational to her success. Jennifer's extensive experience in strategic management and community operations has positioned her as a key driver of Best Residential's continued growth and success. Jennifer holds Pennsylvania real estate license and Temple University and PMIC in South Carolina. Welcome to the stage. Next, we have Ashley Peterson, is a partner with Profit Dixon Partners, specializing in complex multifamily and mixed-use development throughout the Southeast. With more than a decade of commercial real estate experience, Ashley has been involved with the successful entitlement, financing, design, construction, lease-up of 13 multifamily and mixed-use communities, just a few, totaling more than 3,000 units and 50K of retail in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee. She has led and contributed to projects totaling nearly $1 billion in capital investment throughout the southeastern U.S., with simultaneously maintaining an ongoing active pipeline. In 2023, Ashley was named on the prestigious Charlotte Business Journal's 40 Under 40 list. Early in her career, Ashley managed the development of over $2 billion in media and advertising for a top 10 Fortune 500 client at a tier 1 agency in New York City. After leaving New York and returning to hometown of Charlotte, Ashley joined Profit Dixon Partners, where she focused on ground-up multifamily development, serving in roles from development associate to director of development. She was recruited to nationally acclaimed Crescent Communities as Director of Development, where she was promoted to Managing Director and led numerous simultaneously executed complex mixed-use projects in Greater Charlotte and Raleigh-Durham region. In 2022, Ashley had the opportunity to rejoin Profit Dixon Partners as a partner, where she is currently responsible for sourcing and leading notable southeastern multifamily and mixed-use developments. Active in the community and industry, Ashley sits on the development committee of the board of directors of the Batchelor Museum of Modern Art. Ashley is also a member of the professional associations such as Urban Land Institute and the Greater Charlotte Apartment Association, and frequently serves as a speaker at notable industry conference. She volunteers and contributes regularly as a member of the Myers Park Presbyterian Church, as well as other notable organizations such as Habitat for Humanity, Second Harvest Food Bank, and Junior Achievement. Ashley graduated from the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and is married to her husband, Matt, with whom she has a son, Henry, and daughter, Campbell. Welcome to the Next, we have Rachel Russell Krenz. She launched the real estate development consulting firm Legape Group in 2024 with mission of helping maximize the value of place for stakeholders. You're gonna have to pronounce this. Pronounce the name.
The Lanyap Group.
Lanyap?
Lanyap
Group. A Creole word from her hometown of New Orleans, that's why, means a little something extra. Ms. Krenz previously executed over 18 development assets, all of which has been lauded to pull out the extra that many developers often overlook. Her 20-year professional background in placemaking includes her work at the National Trust for Historical Preservation as a Vice President of Real Estate Development for RAM Realty Advisors, Midhouse, Grubb Properties. She's an active member of the Urban Land Institute, South End Board Committee, and founding board chair of Montford Park Partners, and serves as a member volunteer for several historical and community organizations. Ms. Krenz has a master's in city and regional planning degree from the University of North Carolina with a specialization in real estate development and design. Her education also includes an undergraduate degree in SWAT, the University of South, a graduate level certificate in historical preservation from Goucher College, and real estate focused coursework at Keenan Flagler Business School. So welcome to the stage. So I have 2 mics. I'm gonna hand you a mic. So we have a really really, this group is really, like, as you can tell, they're very, very, let me find my card here to make sure I don't miss my questions. I had everything so organized. Here it is. Okay, so this group here, you all are so impressive in what you've done in the industry, like each one of you bring it to the table and what you've already accomplished. And so tonight we're talking about trailblazing women. And as a female executive and in those positions of, like, I mean, you're in pretty, like, powerful positions now, but tell us a little bit about how you got there, because I know that just didn't happen overnight. Who wants to go first?
Looks like I've got the mic.
No, you take
Let's see. I found myself in this position on accident, just like a lot of other folks did in the last panel. Mostly just by saying yes. Anytime something piqued my interest, I would say yes, and I would just keep seeing the next thing and seeing the next thing. So that took me from a lighting and museum design firm to historic preservation, to city planning, to development. And when I had my internship, when I was in my master's program on rezoning in Chapel Hill, I kid you not, it was like I heard a choir sing. I was like, oh, development, like this is what I was meant to do. And so I think it's just saying yes is kind of how I got here. Repeat the question.
Yeah. I've been in this business over 30 years, and when I graduated from Chapel Hill in 90, I did what probably made my mom, who's in the front row, by the way, I made her really proud. I was a bartender. And so as I was bartending, I actually had someone who come to the bar. He was in commercial real estate. He said, you know what you'd be good at? You'd be good at real estate. And so he brought me a magazine of the top 50 management companies in the country, and I just threw my resume out there. So I started in really the core of the business as a leasing consultant, and I made $5 an hour. And you know, you can say, I mean, I could barely pay my rent, but you know, that's what I did, and I just worked my way up to the CEO, and people were like, that's really impressive. Okay, well, it took 25 years to get there. So it really is, I found leasing to be very easy. When I mentor young women, I say, you always find something that feels easy. And leasing apartments was easy for me. Not that it's an easy job, but for me, for my personality, for my skill set, I enjoyed it. And I just never left the business. So it's always been, this business has always been great to me.
Just like everybody else, it was an accident. I went to pay rent, and apparently I had just missed a very large, embarrassing fight in the leasing office where the previous leasing agent's boyfriend decided he was going to get angry. And so she got terminated, and I just happened to walk in to pay my rent. So they said, hey, you want to work weekends and lease apartments? It was back in the day when you got a free apartment for renting apartments. So, I never got free. Oh, I did. So I said, sure, let's give it a try. And the rest is history. I fell in love with the challenges that come up with it. I am a problem solver. So I like to be uncomfortable. A lot of people will tell me that I am awkward, so I guess my whole personality just fits into that awkward bubble. But I've been here and I'm going to stay here. I really enjoy it.
I feel like my protracted bio reading kind of covered I got here. But my dad is actually an architect by trade, and he started his own company when I was just a peanut. So I grew up walking around on job sites. I grew up, on the buck hoist that got stuck on the 34th floor in a Tampa high-rise that he was building, and that's what really sold me. Just hanging in the air, being like, wow, who built this, and how do I do that one day? But all kidding aside, I kind of had a winding path a little bit. I grew up in osmosis territory. I just loved it. I went to Chapel Hill, And I always knew that I wanted to go to Carolina. I always wanted to be a Tar Heel, even though my dad went to State, my mom went to Duke. Somehow I just knew I was going to be a Tar Heel. So I went to Carolina, I graduated, I moved to New York, and actually worked in media for a while, which really helped me hone a lot of the skill sets that I use today. I lived in Excel, I lived in negotiations, I was constantly in rooms, kind of taking those skills from that perspective. But eventually I moved back to Charlotte, which is where I'm from, and knew I wanted to be in development. I'd always enjoyed being around that and got the opportunity to kind of jump into that back in 2014 and have been going ever since. And I couldn't imagine doing anything differently. So my path has been a little bit like this, although it was always in my blood.
It's interesting because I hear from every single one of you like how much you love it, like how much you love what you do. What is it about? Like what is it about what you do that you love so? Like what is it? Is it the people? Is it the projects? Like what is it that you love the most?
Well, first off, if you don't love what you're doing, quit. Why not? You should be loving every day. Like that's the goal, right? It's good to be alive. For me, I love interacting with people. I'm a people person. That's what drives me. But it's also the way that people act and the way they work together. And so being a developer, I wanted to be an architect, I thought, until an architect in high school told me, don't do that. You never get to build any of your own dreams. Go be a developer. And I didn't know what that was. But it's true, as a developer, you get to have these grand visions of how people are going to use space and hand it off to all these amazing experts and consultants that will help bring your vision to life. But to have the ability to think about how people use space and how to make their lives better, it's I don't know, it drives me. It's such a cool experience to be able to do that.
I love to problem solve, but I also, if you don't like people, this is a bad business to be in for sure. But I enjoy being smart, and Joya is in there. She helped me start and build RKW when I was there, and we always talked about being smart. That's how you win, is by being smart. And I enjoy the problems. I enjoy solving the problems. I'm not always right. There's no way in a career as long as mine, I'm always going to be right, but you learn from it and move on. It's a forgiving business, and it's a people business. And I think when you enjoy that and enjoy the hard parts, because it's not easy. It's just not an easy job. But you have to enjoy the challenge, enjoy the problem solving, and then hopefully you get to work with some fantastic people along the way. I really think that's what starts and sustains a long career in this business.
I love the people that are on my team, and I think the best part about this is if you have the ability to be on site and watch your team members grow. I can't tell you how many people, whether they are still with Vest or they're not with Vest anymore, watching them be able to grow and figure out what they want. And sometimes you have to have hard conversations with people. It's about being uncomfortable, but those hard conversations can really change somebody's trajectory. And if you can have a hard conversation and watch somebody bloom, it is so fulfilling, and it almost always costs you nothing but your time. And that's my favorite part about the job, is getting to have those moments with people and then seeing them be brave and take the next step or raise their hand to start a new project or to learn something new. And you don't get that opportunity in a lot of industries. A lot of industries, you sit in your cube and you fill in your spreadsheets and then you pack up and you go home, right? You might pick up a phone every now and again, but you don't necessarily have the opportunity to be face-to-face with people, and you give them the opportunity to tell you what they want, and then you have the conversation to help them get there. So that's the best part of my job. I do love other aspects, but if that wasn't part of my job, I don't think that I would be able to continue doing it.
I love creating things, and I like that in that creation, every single day is different. and that you're meeting different people every day, you're problem solving. That's what I always tell people I do for a living. I'm like, what do you do? I solve problems. Because in our industry, it's always problems. And I think that, your resilience is something that really carries you through that, and it's not something that you just do on your own. It takes a lot of people and a lot of everyone rowing in the right direction towards a finish line that you're all aligned on. And every day it's something exciting and different with different people.
On talking about problem solving, so talking about challenges, is there a moment or something that you really felt challenged? And it's that question of like, how am I going to solve this problem? I know that you look for challenge, but like, has there been something that really kind of pushed you like to your limit?
I'll start since I have the microphone. Like I just touched on, I feel like there's a million problems, right? One of the ones that really sticks out to me is back when, from a construction standpoint, when we were seeing commodity increases, specifically lumber. There was a deal that I had that our lumber was $4 million higher than what we had originally underwritten, and that's a big swing. That's a big issue. But we were able to work with our contractor work with our subcontractors, suppliers to really cut down on that exposure. And then also work with our equity partners who had understanding, who were in it with us. I think it's so important in this industry, who is in your network? Who are you in the boat with? Because a lot of times you go through these storms and you want to have someone that you can rely on, you want to have someone that you feel like has your back, you have their back. And when you come through these really tough times, like we have been in the last couple of years, even getting deals started and off the ground, as a sponsor, equity partners look for the people that they trust, who has integrity, who has been a phenomenal owner sponsor with us before. You want to feel like you have a partnership with people. So that specifically, like I will never forget how trying and difficult that was to come through. But we were able to navigate it thanks to great financial partners, thanks to great contractors. It takes everybody.
COVID. We were lucky enough to have an incredible growth period during COVID, but it was also COVID. So we were doing due diligence in full suits in the beginning because nobody knew what was going on. We literally had DD scheduled for a couple of weeks before the entire country shut down. So we had to send out an email blast to all of our employees saying, who wants to raise their hand and go ahead and walk 300 units, go into somebody's living space and take pictures of their appliances. Like, it's really not that big of a deal, right? Why are we doing this? So that was an incredibly challenging ask of team members. But on top of that, we grew so rapidly during that time, it was completely switching to everything being virtual in the blink of an eye. I specifically remember my husband trying to feed me cereal while I was on a Zoom call, which was incredibly embarrassing. You live and you learn. That time frame though, we were manually keeping additional records for who was coming in, who was working from home that time. We had to back up everything. We did it in a way we never had before, and it was at the time, we had 4 people in the corporate office. So we were doing everything. It was incredibly painful, long hours, 12, 14 hours a day. Lucky enough to have my husband feed me while I was working. That was the most incredibly painful period of my career, and I hope we never experience anything like that again. There were a lot of lessons learned. We did a lot of things right. Keeping that paper backup was very instrumental when the government changed their mind on how they were going to give out money. But then we didn't do some things well. We had some people, we had some turnover because of the alternate schedules and things of that nature. So lessons learned, and I hope that we never have to say it again.
You asked like what problem? I've had so many problems. In fact, when I was a CEO, I said I should be the CPO, the Chief Problem Officer. Every day is a problem. But
something that I've overcome, I mean, starting with RKW, we had 0 apartments. And I remember I had a Regis office, and I went in a suit because I didn't know what else I was supposed to do except go in there with a suit and my computer and try to figure it out. But every problem I've had, and I could list a million problems, it's really having the confidence to know you will figure it out. You might not know how to figure it out. You don't have step by step how to figure it out. I didn't know how to start a company, but I knew I could, you know. My mom would probably tell you when I was 6 and I was in the grocery store, I would tell people, I can add. Did you know I can add? Did you know I can add? You know, so I've been fortunate enough to have, you know, great parents and have confidence. I've been fortunate enough to have a wonderful husband that I've known since I was 12 years old. And, you know, we've been married almost 33 years now. It's not really about the problems that you have, because you will have problems. It's about the people you surround yourself with who will support you during those problems, and having the confidence to know, hey, I don't have a step-by-step on how to solve this problem, but I know I can. And even if I fail, I'll learn from the failure and move on. I always say, if nobody's dead and the place didn't burn down, it's not that serious. And that's really, like, I say that all the time in property management, because, you know, there's a lot of problems. Sometimes people do die. Sometimes the place does burn down, and those are bad days, and you can cry, and that's good. But every other day, there's always a problem to solve. You surround yourself with the right people and have the confidence that you know you can solve the problem, and you'll continue to be successful.
It's good clapping. So the question. What problem?
What problem or challenge?
The same. There have just been so many. One I would add that's a little bit different than what you guys have said is I pride myself on being a people person and having a vision and running a team to be a part of that vision and own it. And I had an instance where there was a team member who just didn't buy into the vision, and who was supposed to be my partner, and the construction manager to the developer, the yin and the yang, that just wasn't on my team. And that was probably one of the hardest challenges that I've ever faced, because I'm not used to not being liked. You know, it's such a stupid thing. I'm like, he didn't like me. Why doesn't he like me? And why doesn't he buy into the vision? And it's just, it was, looking back on it, I've learned so much how silly that was. That moment where I realized that I couldn't get through to him is when I became the best leader. Is that I had to figure out how to relate to people that are different than me. And how do I find a way to inspire him? So what do? After a few facilitated mentorships with our boss and trying to figure it out, we went and got drunk together. And he told me his sob story of why everybody hated him when he was younger and how he was a struggle. And all of a sudden, by finding a way to understand him as a human being, he and I then could work together strongly going forward. And while that's an inherent thing in people, we learn just to connect in some way, just the same way the senator was talking about, find a way to connect to each other and share. And that's such an obvious thing, but when others on the other end don't know how to do that, that is incredibly challenging to motivate somebody who doesn't want to be motivated. And so that was probably the biggest challenge I faced in my career, and has made me a way better leader and understanding person as a result.
And that's really the biggest thing, talking about challenges, because that's what shapes us. I mean, I've had similar instances. We always laugh with fitness equipment, like, they're not dying. Like, it's treadmills. Like, everything's gonna be okay. Where before, when I first started, I would freak out. I would have myself up at night, worried about every little thing. And I'm finally at a place with confidence now that I know how to handle those situations, but it's, 10 years later. But kind of talking about this, what is one thing that we want to leave tonight, everyone here, and there might be somebody in the audience that's wanting to go to the next level, or they're wanting to, or maybe they're being challenged where they are right now and they're thinking about maybe going a whole different career path. What is one thing you would say to someone right now that you would like to leave with them tonight?
Slow down. My therapist has been coaching me to slow down. Yes, my therapist. That's actually my piece of advice, get a therapist. No lie. If you're not in therapy, you should be in therapy. It's like the best thing in the world. But genuinely, I think being female and naturally who I am, I wanted to move as fast as I could. I wanted to do as many projects as I could. I wanted to crush it. I wanted to be the best. And as a result of that, I was going so fast that I was not taking in as much and being as thoughtful. And as you get older and your career gets more confident, you have the ability to slow down. And what I have realized is that all the shit and all the problems, they end up working themselves out. And so if I just wait a minute before I respond to somebody, if I just wait a minute until the brilliant idea comes, like I don't have to rush to get there. So I would say just slow down and take a breath, and all the greatness and all the be amazing will just be right there.
Two things I would say is when you're thinking about going to the next level or doing the next thing is to do it scared. You know, you're never going to have every box checked and said, I'm ready for this promotion, I'm ready for this next, opportunity. I was never the president of a company until I was the president of the company. And I just did it, and I was scared, and I was like, they're crazy for making me the president. Well, I'm gonna do it, and just when I actually started with the company I was with previously, I remember waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning about 2 weeks in, and I told my husband, I said, they're crazy. Why did they do this? And he's like, you can do it. You can do it. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. You do it scared. And again, you just have to keep doing it, doing what you know is right to be successful. And just really just to add on to what you said is time is a gift. When you start your career, I work with a lot of students with UNC Charlotte. I'm mentoring one now, and they're like, how can I be a chief strategy officer? I was like, well, it took me 32 years. I'm just saying, you're 22 now, you're probably gonna work until you're 62, maybe 72. You have a 40 or 50-year career ahead of you. You will not achieve where you think you're gonna achieve now. You have to do your time, you have to learn the core of your business, you have to understand and get perspective. And when you have perspective, that's when you can really achieve. So for someone who's starting out, you want to make sure that you are learning and listening. You're going to do that your whole career, but when you can have perspective, that's when you'll be able to give to others and continue to advance your career. And you'll be scared, but it'll work out.
Know how you learn. I ask people all the time, when we hire people, they have to take a little survey, how do you learn? We even spell it out for them. It took me a long time to figure out how I learned best. And when I did, that's when everything started clicking. That's when I could move at a speed and not be like, oh, what happened yesterday? I don't know. So everybody would always tell me, write it down, write it down, write it down. Writing it down doesn't work for me. I need to see it. And so then when I started going to my mentors at the time and said, wait, can you physically show it to me? Can we visualize this? Everything started to click. So figuring out, do you need to read it? Do you need to see it? Do you need to do both? Do you need to write it down? There's so many different ways to learn, and most mentors, whether they're male or female, will gladly shift their style to fit how you learn, which is going to help you retain the knowledge so that you can progress easy through your career, which is the ultimate goal for, I think, everybody.
I'd say really get to know yourself and spend the time to understand who you are, and coupling that with building your self-confidence, getting exposure in rooms and when you're stepping up, into a different space in your career, just really knowing who you are and being confident in that. I've heard this concept before of get your own personal board of directors, build that arsenal with 4 people that you really value their opinions. It could be your mom, it could be your mentor, it could be someone who is your peer in your career, and just really rely on them and trust them. bounce ideas off of them. No one's going to be a bigger cheerleader for yourself than yourself, but it's great to have an army kind of behind you and validating everything that you're doing. And as you continue forward and continue to build the confidence and get to know yourself more and more, you'll just stay true to who you are and just follow that North Star.
Thank y'all so much. Like, has anybody else been like inspired tonight? It's these conversations and it's like having like this kind of just insight. And I think this community, who's here in multifamily? Let's just do that. Who's in multifamily? Stand up if you're in multifamily. Take it up the chair. Take it up the chair. So we're all. This is awesome. So do you see the people that aren't in multifamily? Like, we have some people here that this might be new for them. So this is awesome. Y'all can sit back down now. But I just want to say thank you to all the speakers. Thank y'all so much for the time that you took out of your busy schedules to be here and to share such insight. Again, we're going to drop this on the Be Amazing podcast so that you can share it. And there'll be an email that'll go out and let you know. But ladies, thank you so much tonight.
Thank you so much for listening to the Be Amazing podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please send it to someone who inspires you so they can feel amazing too. If you want to help us reach new listeners, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Don't forget, you can find the video versions of our episodes on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at the Be Amazing Podcast or DM me at Cel Smart. I'll see you in the next episode.